Welcome to the deep dive. You guys know we love to dig into some interesting stuff. And this time you sent us a really unique one, a sermon from YouTube called Our Feet on the Neck of the Enemy?
Oh, yeah, from 2018.
Yeah, by Bill Vincent.
Yeah, this one's really interesting because it's not your typical self-help kind of talk.
Right.
He uses this biblical battle to kind of frame how we can overcome negativity in life
Yeah.
and achieve breakthroughs.
So it's like the Israelites, led by Joshua,
Mhm.
they're going up against these 5 Amorite kings.
Yeah,
But then Vincent takes it a step further and connects these kings to 5 different spiritual forces that he thinks are working against people.
especially in the American church.
Especially within the American church, yeah. Have you ever felt like there are these unseen forces that are kind of working against you?
It's really fascinating how he draws this parallel between this historical battle and then the struggles we face today.
Yeah.
He calls these spirits oppression, religion, besiegement, blindness, and accusation.
Right. And he lists them out.
He named.
Yeah, he names them. And for each one, he talks about the effects it might have on your life.
Yeah.
So, for example, he says that the spirit of oppression can lead to feelings of injustice and fear, poverty, even physical symptoms like headaches or a tight chest.
It's interesting how he combines like the spiritual and physical manifestations of these things,
Yeah.
tapping into that kind of common human experience of feeling held back or burdened.
Totally. And he emphasizes that these spirits are actively working against your progress.
Yeah.
And they're trying to keep you in this negative state.
Keep
Yeah.
you in the dumps, right?
Yeah,
And that goes right back to the title of the sermon, right? Our feet on the neck of the enemy.
right.
It's a call to action,
It is.
to resist these negative forces and claim victory over them.
He uses this image from the Battle of Joshua, having the captains put their feet on the necks of the defeated kings,
Yeah.
as a metaphor for taking authority over these spirits.
So he really wants listeners to kind of internalize this idea of combating negativity
Yeah.
and claiming their rightful place of peace and abundance.
And he even gives practical advice for this.
Oh, yeah.
He suggests that people actually stand up and physically do this during a song at the end of the sermon,
Oh, wow.
stepping on the neck of the enemy.
Can you imagine that? I wonder what that kind of symbolic action offers people.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a way to embody the victory that he's talking about?
Yeah. Make it more real.
Make it more tangible?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
And this isn't just about individual victory.
Right.
He connects these 5 spirits to broader challenges that he sees.
Within the American church?
Yeah, facing the American church and society as a whole,
Especially at the time.
especially in the political climate at the time.
Yeah. He specifically mentions the political situation with the recent election of Donald Trump
Right.
as kind of an example of this unrest that these negative forces can create.
But the message is one of hope.
Yes.
He says that these challenging times are a refining process
Oh.
that's going to lead to a new era of spiritual awakening and revival.
Even greater than the Azusa Street revival.
Even greater than the Azusa Street revival of the early 20th century.
That's a big claim.
It is.
It speaks to this belief in spiritual renewal and transformation that he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves his listeners with a sense of expectation, urging them to participate in this kind of unfolding spiritual shift.
Okay, so we've got this backdrop of this epic battle, these 5 powerful spiritual forces to contend with, and a promise of a major spiritual shift coming.
Where do we even start with all this?
I think we should start by looking at these 5 spirits one by one.
Okay.
First up is Adonizedek,
All right.
king of Jerusalem, who Vincent links to the spirit of oppression. This one hits close to home for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
Terry?
Vincent really paints a picture of how this spirit might show up in someone's life.
Mhm.
He talks about feeling a weight on your shoulders,
Yeah.
like you're constantly battling uphill against injustice and setbacks.
And he doesn't just stop at the emotional and mental. He connects oppression to physical ailments.
Yeah.
Headaches, that feeling of tightness in your chest.
It's almost as if the stress is manifesting in your body.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting point.
Mm.
It speaks to this mind-body connection, how our emotional and spiritual well-being can actually impact our physical health.
Mm.
You ever notice that?
Oh, totally.
When you're stressed or anxious, you tend to get more headaches or feel physically drained.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like your body is trying to tell you something's not right.
Yeah.
And Vincent's saying that this oppression spirit is working to steal your peace and keep you in this constant state of worry and anxiety.
It wants to keep you trapped in that survival mode,
Right.
constantly reacting to challenges instead of proactively creating the life you want.
And that's where the religious aspect comes in.
Okay.
He connects the second king, Hoham of Hebron, to the spirit of religion.
Uh-huh.
But he's not talking about faith in general.
Right.
He's calling out the spirit of legalism and rigid rules, where people get so caught up in the outward rituals that they lose sight of the genuine heart of their faith.
It's like they're going through the motions.
Yeah.
Without really connecting to the spirit behind it.
Yeah, he even tells a funny story about how he used to get upset if someone sat in his usual seat in church.
Oh, wow.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I think we've all encountered those people
Of course.
who were super attached to their routines and traditions. But Vincent suggests that this kind of rigid thinking can actually block us from experiencing the true freedom and joy of our faith.
Yeah, it's as if the spirit of religion wants to keep us confined.
In a box.
In a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, following all the rules without questioning.
Right.
Or truly experiencing the transformative power of our beliefs.
So we've got oppression keeping us weighed down and religion boxing us in.
Mm-hmm.
What about the spirit of besiegement?
Well, he links besiegement to Piram, the king of Jarmuth.
Okay.
And he paints this picture of isolation, barrenness, and even a sense of being cut off from support and resources. It's like this spirit wants to create a spiritual wilderness around you, keeping you isolated and alone.
He uses this image of someone being wild and unbridled, too proud to submit to authority, which ultimately leads to stagnation.
Right.
And just being stuck in a rut.
Stuck.
Have you ever felt that way, like you're pushing everyone away?
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah.
Isolation, whether it's by choice or by circumstance.
Yeah.
But Vincent suggests that this spirit of besiegement actually thrives on our pride and unwillingness to connect with others.
Right.
It feeds on that sense of separation.
It's like he's saying that true growth and fulfillment come from community, from allowing ourselves to be supported and loved by others.
Yeah, it's that sense of belonging, of knowing that you're not alone in your struggles.
Yeah.
That's something that the spirit of besiegement wants to take away from us.
Okay, so we've got oppression, religion, and besiegement. Next up is Japhthia, the king of Lakush, who Vincent connects to the spirit of blindness.
Okay.
What's he getting at with this one?
Blindness is all about self-deception. It's about shining that spotlight on ourselves,
Okay.
demanding our rights, taking all the credit without acknowledging the role of a higher power in our lives.
It's like you can't see the forest for the trees. You're so focused on yourself that you miss the bigger picture.
You miss the divine guidance and support that's all around us.
Yeah, and Vincent suggests that this self-centeredness actually blocks us from receiving true revelation.
Yeah.
And it keeps us trapped in a cycle of ego and pride.
It's like we're looking in the wrong direction, focused on our own limited perspective, instead of opening ourselves to a wider view.
And finally, the fifth king, Debir of Eglon, is connected to the spirit of accusation.
Okay.
What's the deal with this one?
This is the spirit of negativity and judgment.
Okay.
The one that whispers doubts in your ear and tries to tear others down.
Right.
Attacking reputations, discrediting leaders, and spreading discord and distrust.
It's like the ultimate Debbie Downer, always pointing out the flaws and finding fault with everything and everyone.
Vincent suggests that this spirit is particularly insidious because it can even infiltrate our religious communities,
Right.
leading to division and infighting.
Wow.
He even warns that it can release false prophets to further confuse and mislead people.
So basically, this spirit is all about creating chaos and undermining genuine spiritual authority.
Right.
It wants to make us suspicious of each other and question everything.
Exactly. It's trying to create a climate of fear and paranoia where we're constantly second-guessing ourselves and each other.
Wow, that's quite a lineup. Oppression, religion, besiegement, blindness, and accusation. It sounds pretty intense. But the good news is that Vincent doesn't just leave us hanging with this list of negative forces to contend with.
He reminds us that these spirits have already been defeated.
Right.
He brings it back to that powerful image of Joshua having those kings brought out of the cave and urging his captains to put their feet on their necks.
Yes.
It's a reminder that we have the authority to overcome these negative forces in our own lives.
But what does that victory actually look like?
Yeah, what are the spoils of this spiritual battle?
What are the tangible benefits of overcoming these spirits? What does it actually mean for us in our everyday lives? This is where it gets really interesting. Vincent doesn't shy away from talking about the rewards for winning these spiritual battles. He actually uses the word booty.
It's like he's saying, hey, there are real tangible rewards here.
Yeah.
He gets specific about things like financial abundance,
Yeah.
stronger relationships, and a deeper connection with God.
Right?
It's almost like he's saying that overcoming these negative forces just clears the way for blessings to flow into your life.
And he connects this to the idea of fully occupying the promised land,
Yeah.
which in this context seems to represent a state of spiritual fulfillment and abundance.
It's like reaching that next level of peace and joy that I think we all crave.
Yeah, totally.
But he doesn't sugarcoat it.
Right.
He acknowledges that the journey to victory can be tough. He actually uses this really relatable analogy. His 5-year-old daughter complaining about her legs hurting while they were hiking.
Oh, yeah.
It's that feeling of wanting to give up,
Yeah.
but knowing you have to push through to reach the destination.
I think we can all relate to that feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
Those moments when you're in the thick of it and you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You just want to say, I can't fight anymore.
Yeah, and Vincent admit that he's been there too.
Yeah.
He's felt that overwhelming sense of wanting to quit, but he emphasizes the importance of persevering.
Right.
Not giving up before we've claimed the full spoils of victory.
It's like, don't settle for a quick fix or a partial victory.
Yeah.
Keep pushing forward even when it's hard, because there's something incredible waiting for you on the other side.
He also talks about the importance of developing our ability to hear God's voice more clearly.
Yeah.
He believes that's one of the most valuable tools we have for navigating those challenging times.
Right.
That inner guidance and support that can help us make the right decisions and stay on track.
It's like having that internal compass that helps you navigate the ups and downs of life.
Exactly.
He's not just talking about some vague sense of intuition. He's talking about a direct connection with the divine, a guidance that gives you clarity and confidence even when things feel uncertain.
And he gets pretty personal here.
Okay.
He shares a story about facing criticism from other ministry leaders
Mm-hmm.
when he started teaching people that they could activate their own spiritual gifts.
Oh, wow.
It was a controversial stance, and he faced some backlash.
Yeah.
But he stood firm in his belief that everyone has the potential to hear from God and operate in those gifts.
It's like he was willing to go against the grain and challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
Because he genuinely believed in empowering people to connect with their own spiritual potential.
He also talks about the importance of letting go of old patterns and embracing new ways of doing things.
Okay.
He tells a funny story about a team member who was resistant to change
Oh.
and became a hindrance to the ministry's growth.
It's that classic resistance to change, the fear of stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Exactly.
But Vincent suggests that sometimes we have to unplug from what's no longer serving us and find a new power source.
He uses the analogy of an extension cord.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to detach from that old outlet and plug into something that can give you more energy and reach.
It's like he's saying, don't be afraid to leave behind what's familiar and embrace the new, even if it feels a little scary at first.
And he ties this back to his belief that God is doing something new in this moment, something that requires a fresh perspective and a willingness to let go of the past.
Right.
He even talks about a specific angel named Raymond,
Really?
who is overseeing a new revival in his city. It's like he sees this wave of spiritual energy building and he's inviting people to ride it.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that there will be those who cling to the old ways,
Yeah.
but he encourages them to be open to this new ways,
Right.
even if it doesn't look like what they're used to. He seems convinced that there's something powerful unfolding, and he wants people to be a part of it.
And remember how he encourages people to physically step on the neck of the enemy during that final song?
Yeah.
It's like he's giving them a tangible way to embody that victory and claim their own spiritual authority.
He's calling people to step into their power and embrace the abundance and freedom that he believes is rightfully theirs.
Yeah.
And he ends the sermon with this really interesting declaration.
Oh, it's that.
He says they're stepping over into something new, and it's going to smell good.
That's quite an image. It leaves you wondering what that new spiritual landscape looks and smells like. What possibilities await those who are willing to cross over into this new territory?
So what does all of this mean for you?
Yeah.
Whether or not you agree with all of Vincent's interpretations, there's a lot to unpack here.
He definitely presents a unique perspective on how to approach personal struggles and setbacks through this lens of spiritual warfare.
It's about recognizing those negative forces that might be holding you back and taking proactive steps to overcome them. It's a message of empowerment and resilience.
And even though he's speaking specifically to the American church, I think a lot of his points resonate beyond any particular religious affiliation.
Absolutely.
This core message of confronting negativity, claiming victory, and stepping into a new level of abundance is something that can apply to anyone.
It's about tapping into that inner strength and realizing that you have the power to create the life you want.
So think about the areas in your own life where you're feeling stuck or held back. What are those 5 kings that might be blocking your path?
And more importantly, what would it look like to claim victory in those areas? What are the spoils you're hoping to win?
This deep dive has given us a lot to think about. Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration. We hope it sparked some new insights and inspired you to step into your own promised land.